going to be making another video. I want to get into a routine of doing these quite often, only because I think it helps my game a lot, and it keeps me in line, and it makes me think through my decisions more rationally and clearly, as opposed to just clicking buttons senselessly. So we will be making another one. Unknown opponent. I haven't gotten to the routine of checking these guys on SharkScope, only because we are playing the 20s. I just think that most of the players here play on average at the most, and think perhaps at 2 levels, usually at 1 level. Here we're gonna call 6-7 and play out the hand, see how it works, and try to decipher what we can from it. So he min bets this flop. We'll go ahead and re-raise him just to see what happens. More often than not, he's not going to hit this board, and that's why I don't mind barreling. So when he does call the flop, he could have a king here very easily, and when we fire on the turn and he flats us almost instantly, I'm done with the hand. In heads up, there tends to be a lot of ego involved with players, myself included, and it becomes apparent enough that players don't want to let go, and I've done that myself, and players who tend to be more emotional in some spots would do it often. Here we see betted the king a8 flop. We get insta called, and the 6 on the turn comes, and I'm satisfied with just trying to get the showdown. More often than not, they will lead out with the bet on the river after checking the flop, and it's just a spot where we couldn't take it down, and it's one of those instances where if they made a play on us, kudos to them. But if he had a piece of it, we didn't pay him off with our ace high. Here with the jack-8, we're just going to elect to check it, and we do turn trips, so we will lead and try to get 2 streets of value, and that's going to be the best turn we can hope for, and we'll bet slightly above pot, trying to get him a call with a 10, or that river does bring up the possibility of a straight, but he folds it and we take down the hand. 9-7, we will open. This guy has shown the ability to play fairly decent. He's been active in that he's been raising a couple times. He donks here, and rather than raise him, which we did before and it didn't work, we'll just do elect to a flat and play out a turn. If he checked it to us, we will probably bet. Okay, so he bets 60 again. Fairly weak. Leads me to believe that he has a 6 or perhaps a flush draw. So we will just flat. Our hand's not strong enough to raise, and then he bets huge on the river. I've seen this before in my other videos, and a small part of me just wants to call just to validate my point that he probably was betting small, blocking betting to not get raised huge for a flush draw. He's basically saying, this is the price I'm going to pay for a flush draw. If the spade hits and he bets that amount, I mean, if he didn't have the flush, maybe he had just top pair, and that spade hits the river. He has to assume. Let's just say he didn't have the flush there. All he had was top pair. He has to assume that there's the possibility, with me calling down 2 streets, that I have the flush. But then why would he bet 260 into that pot, right? So since I don't have the flush there, I automatically put him into having the flush in that spot, and more often than not, they do show up with that hand. I mean, who goes from betting 60-60 and then all of a sudden 280 on the river when the 3rd spade hits? I mean, it should be pretty evident what they're going to have there most of the time, and so I just elect to get rid of it. All right, so king 7 here, out of position. Not much on this flop we can do. We're just going to check it down to hope we get some showdown value. And he does elect to give it to us, but he has slightly better than us in that regard. Queen 4, we're just going to toss it. 10-8. Flop top pair, and we're going to be looking to bet when we have probably the best hand here. Even though we're out of position, we're low on chips and we want to build a pot. 5-10, we're just going to get rid of. And just to check, he is only single tabling, so his focus is solely on us. 5 deuce, we'll let it go. E6, raise it up. 6. We will bet out here. Dunk out on this flop. It's I'm an active when it comes to paired boards like that. Very easy to take him down for the most part when the board runs out that way and you're first to act. All right, Jack 8 here. See, our opponent leads out for 60 here. Check something. Okay. Just gonna toss it. So no, I see no reason. I don't know enough about this guy yet to know what those donk bets are, and I don't want to make a play without a hand that I can rely on to hopefully make it to showdown. So here we have 8s. And the flop comes pretty dry. Okay, he donks again. We're going to make it huge. We're going to try to put as much money in the pot as we can that he's willing to call so that we can potentially shove on the turn or the river given whatever action may occur. So we will make it 120 on top. Flats, and you know, that's the best turn we can hope for. If he's running 4x here, or if he's making the play with 4x here, or perhaps even, you know, a 6 with you know, 6-7 or something like that, I'd expect him to let it go here. But for some reason he paired that 9. That's just unfortunate. That $40 bet he made on the flop just leads me to believe that, similar to that flush draw hand he had earlier, that he's basically raising enough, trying to block bet so that I'll just call so that he'll get a cheap card that might make his straight on the turn. So here he makes it 40. We will 3-bet him with King 10. It's going to be our first 3-bet, so I assume it's going to have a bit more of an impact than it would perhaps later on when we increase our 3-betting frequency. All right, 10-5. Gonna let this one go. King 5 again. Gonna let it go. Ace Queen suited. Gonna make it 4x, only because he limped, so we should increase our raising size to reflect that limp. Ace King. The 3-bet. Gonna raise it. Really strong. And he does donk bet again. Fortunately for us, the bet is fairly small. I am not in the mood for trying to raise this one without an actual made hand, so I don't mind just flatting and seeing a turn card. There is the possibility that he is betting out his draws here. 6-7. 6-7 is the most likely possibility. Or but we did flop. We did turn the gutter. And I also think that any ace or king that comes will be the best hand also. Alright, we'll call one last street. We do river our king. So he bets 400. It's a really good bet. But all draws missed except for ace 4 and 4-6. Alright, well, our intention was to call basically whatever river. If the river came in ace or king, we're going to call it. So he was basically bluffing on the flop. That's interesting. Really interesting. So he's donking. He's donking with air. And, you know, only now do we realize he's doing it. So we'll put a note up. So, more or less, I expect them to have a draw there more often than not. We raise pre-flop, so this board is just really, really bad. If he's calling, like, we don't know if this guy's calling way too wide or not, but like in general, when we raise it, when we make it 60 to go, I don't expect him to be calling with a deuce. You know, sometimes with a 5, but 6-7, I expect him to call like 7-9, hands that can make draws on the flop, and so that's why I expect him to have a draw there, as opposed to a pair. But he's clearly, from that one hand, he is calling any 2 cards. He does not care. Here we're gonna lead out with the ace queen. King of spades comes, completes a flush, but at the same time I still think he's calling a wide range of 8s and 7s. If we get 3-bet here, it's gonna be a pretty sick spot, and yeah, we do. Yeah, you know, if he had a 7 or an 8, I expect him just a flat. But you know, given from the last hand, he's shown that he can bluff in spots where, you know, where he might not necessarily have the best hand, but he's trying to manufacture a bluff, and we caught him bluffing last time. You know, this is a spot where, you know, I hate it so much. I hate folding here so much, and I think this is a big leak of mine, and hopefully you guys can reconfirm that for me. But I hate folding here. I just hate it, given how he just came off a hand where he lost a big stack, and now he has a chance to represent the flush, and you know, he might call here, and it might fucking sorry, excuse my language, but it might show up here. But I just think that given the game flow and him being pissed off about losing a hand, and you know, given how we know he's capable of manufacturing weird plays like that, I'm just gonna ship it, and hopefully he's got an 8 or a 7 with a spade, and he calls us, and you know, he misses. And in this particular situation, you know, it worked out for us because he folded. But if he called there, I wouldn't be surprised if he had it. It's just a matter of how many times in this given situation, given the current game flow, is he going to have the spades there, and how often is he going to have a pair with a flush draw or nothing. And that's the calculation we need to make, and unfortunately I am not skilled enough to make that calculation. But given the game flow, and given how given how we know how this opponent slightly operates in terms of bluffing, he's capable of bluffing, he's capable of making weird plays like that, I think it's very likely that he's not going to have the flush there. So I apologize if this was a bit long. We will continue on with the game, but you know, that was a good bit to talk about, because I'm interested to know what you guys think. So Jack 9 here. I'm absolutely fine with just shoving. Actually, you know, yeah, we're just gonna shove this. Yeah, we're looking for the fold equity, but even if he calls, we're like, what? We're all right against his range, so absolutely no issue. Jack 8 here. We're just gonna check behind for pot control. He's got no chips left, and the last thing we want to do is commit ourselves when he bets. So here, he does lead, and we're obviously calling. No way. Okay, so we had the 8. The thing is, if we raise there, if we c-bet on the flop, and then he went over the top of us, it's just a safe spot to be in with second pair. And if there's one thing I learned from a certain player who I do watch, Primordial AA, he's a real proponent of, you know, controlling the size of the pot, not necessarily c-betting everything, but putting yourself in spots where you're not going to be in such tough, you're not going to be making tough decisions, and that was an exact example of that. So here we have ace 10. You know, 60-40. If he wins this, he's got 650. If he doesn't, we win the hand, and it looks like we're going to take this one down. Yeah, so good match. All right, let's see if he wants to play again. All right, he declines. All right, so I'll just call that a game, and thanks for watching, and please leave your feedback below. I'm always open to suggestions, as I always say. Cheers.